What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Tiger, and today I'm here to talk about one of my favorite characters from the Slime universe, aka the Demon Lord Dagruel. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how powerful he is and just how overpowered my man is. Obviously, there's going to be some spoilers ahead, just giving everybody the heads up. Like and subscribe, and let's get into this. So first off, at the beginning of the series, we are introduced to the Demon Lord Dagruel right before War Burgers. Wimu is in a conversation with Wimwees and Rador, basically asking who are the Demon Lords. And eventually that leads to my man's Earthquake, or also known as the Continent's Wrath, Dagruel. Dagruel is a giant and one of the few people that can go toe to toe with Rador himself. It's stated they have had multiple fights, no winning, no losing. So at the very beginning of the series, he was already a catastrophe level threat, which makes him pretty damn strong and probably within the top 20 of all characters in the force. And if you've read majority of Slime, you should be able to say there's probably around 200 plus characters. So being in top 20 is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. But back to the main point. His existence alone has been stated multiple times throughout the series that it's comparable to the True Dragons. And as we know, he's fought against Rador, holding his own. So his power is definitely comparable. And for people that think he isn't that big of a deal, we don't have that much information about him, let me bless your ears real quick. For one, he has one of the highest existence points values. For people that don't know what that is, and like number 16, we were introduced to a new power ranking system. Hence, the author didn't feel like replying every 2 seconds, oh, he's stronger than claiming. He introduced the existence points values. And for my man's Dagruel, he has an existence points value of 40 million. And just to make things clear for everybody, existence points only calculates your raw power, not like your strength, nor does it incorporate like your combat capabilities. Once again, it's just your physical raw power, your maxed out form. And for him, it's 40 mil, and I think this is a pretty big deal, knowing that majority of the characters in the force can't even bypass like 2 mil. And just to make things even more extraordinary, the person that's stated numerous times to be the strongest of the force, aka Guy Crimson, the Rouge Primordial, his existence points value is just slightly above 30 mil. So physically speaking, in terms of raw power, he's actually stronger than the one that's actually considered to be the top of the force. In terms of combat capability, he obviously doesn't match Guy, hence why he's not the strongest. But in terms of raw power, he still bypasses him, which is pretty amazing in its own effect. One of his perks of just being a giant is that he has magic nullification. In other words, magic in general cannot work on him, right? So it's definitely better than just having basic magic resistance, right? And just to make things clear, you can overpower this, it's been stated. But for him specifically, he even got hit by Luminous's maxed out holy power magic that he pretty sure she used everybody within her country's faith in her, and it didn't even affect him at all. So specifically for Dagruel, we haven't seen a limit to his magic nullification. So right there and then, most characters aren't touching him. And I would say the second most broken ability he has is called Time Stop. For people that haven't reached that far into the series yet, we have this dimension called the Suspended World. The Suspended World is basically a separate dimension that time freezes. And the important thing about this is when you freeze time, you can't actually freeze time in a small space like in a room. When you freeze time, you're freezing time everywhere. Every dimension possible. The second you freeze time, you connect to the Suspended World, and the Suspended World is connected to all dimensions. So depending on how big you think the cosmology is for Slime, me personally, I think it's definitely a decent size. We at least know there's planets, and we know that there's stars. In other words, there's probably a outer space, knowing that there should be a sun as well. So it's probably as big as a solar system, bare minimum. I'm assuming it's probably a universe. I've had a lot of people discuss it with me and try to help this universe. It's never been straight up stated though, but I can understand if you want to make the argument that it is a universe. Main point, if he's freezing time, that is him technically affecting all space. So depending on if you think it's a universe, that would put him universal right there, just being able to affect that. If you think it's just him being able to not, in other words, the biggest thing we know that there is at least there's stars. So you can argue that he could possibly be star level, which is still pretty impressive in its own right. In terms of that, and for the people that don't know, time stop is pretty damn OP. No one that's able to stop physics in general. Rumu basically explains that nobody in the force can exceed the speed of light. It works just like in his old world, but in the suspended world, physics just goes out the window. In other words, you can exceed speeds that technically shouldn't be possible. So within the suspended world, he should be FTL. That would make the most sense, knowing that characters at his level should automatically be this FTL. I can make a whole another video about that. You should check it out. Speed. He's pretty damn overpowered. Just being able to stop time makes him, once again, probably close within that top 10 range that most people can't defend him. There's been a few characters right now that are able to at least maintain their consciousness within the voice, but it's not doing anything if you can't react, right? So for one, he's beating majority of characters just off that alone. Magic nullification, he's beating most characters off that alone. He has more power than majority of characters in the voice because he has his 40 million existence points. In terms of this attack ability, right, physical ability, he's definitely strong, knowing that the primordial demons, and for people that forget, primordial demons have been there since the beginning of time itself, and the demons themselves have a own hickory. They've been fighting amongst themselves for thousands of years, and obviously at the top of those rankings are the primordial demons, and the primordial demons consider him one of the greatest threats. So once again, for combat capability, it's not like he's slacking or anything. I would say one of the most important traits to mention is that before he was regular, he was an evil god. Him and his two younger brothers were actually one entity at a certain point in time. At that point in time, he was basically destroying the earth, he was destroying the planet, and Valdanava had to intervene and basically slap some sense into him. And Valdanava basically split him into 3 different entities. The fourth entity being him, Dracul, the second being his middle brother, Glaciard, and his little brother, Fen. I think the most important factor about this is, once again, I said earlier that he has a existence points of 40 mil. His little brother has existence points of 60 mil, and his middle brother has existence points of 10 mil. That means most likely back when he was just one entity and he was truly at his strongest, he would have a power level of about 110 million EP, which is pretty damn strong, knowing that I think there's only like, what, 3 or 4 characters right now in the series that have even like close to 100 EP. So you know, in his OG form, most people definitely wasn't touching him. Like I said earlier, Valdanava himself had to intervene. And even after he got split in 3, he was still one of the strongest beings in the Force. So, you know, it really wasn't happening. You know, most people just can't fight him. And like I said earlier, his little brother had 60 EP, which is once again pretty damn strong, and he was also a character that was compared to the true dragons. And his little brother, in terms of power, he might not be as close as them, but it is stated that his little brother is more skilled than both of them in terms of combat capability. Yet even if one brother is stated to have more better, he's stronger than him in terms of combat capability, and the other brother is said to be stronger than him physically, he's still considered to be the most dangerous out of the two, being that he's able to exert and have a decent amount of skill than both of them put together. So it's pretty damn dangerous, right? So his existence points is pretty broken. It's pretty high higher than majority of characters. He has his time stop ability, which is stopping majority of characters. Magic nullification, which is stopping most of his characters. He's so much of a threat that people that have existed since the beginning of time, aka the primordials, think he's a threat. He's above majority of just the demon lords themselves. The only demon lords that should be above should be Malim, my man's Gi Crimson, and Wimru, which would put him in 4th out of 8, which is still pretty strong. Known just the group itself is known to be at the peak of strength within the voice for majority of the series. So he's pretty damn broken. And just to explain one of his probably better feats is later on in the series we'll introduce to this character called Dagruel. And Dagruel basically becomes Diablo /his Outsmart student, and he learns a lot about dark magic. I have no idea how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to put this on the screen. So basically he learns this move, and it stated Alderman that if he was just slightly off, he could have destroyed the planet. And in the light novel, this move is directly pointed at my man Dagruel, and Dagruel literally returns it and breaks it with just force of energy. So it wasn't even like he needed some sort of special move. Yet with this his pure energy alone, he had enough power to cancel out a move that was stated to be able to destroy the planet. Like, my man's is pretty OP. I just think a lot of people just underestimate him in that aspects. Probably because we don't learn too much about him until like the last couple of light novels, but still, like I said earlier, in terms of power, he's probably one of the strongest. Time stop, that's stopping at least 90% of characters in the verse, so most people are not touching him. Magic nullification, probably one of the most broken moves because majority of characters rely on magic, obviously. He has his 2 little brothers that are stated to be at the top of the verse as well, and it's stated that he's the most dangerous out of the 3 of them. Considered to be a threat to the primordials, his existence is stated to be comparable to the 2 dragons. Like there's really not much you can say about this guy that's bad. Like even at the beginning of the series, we were introduced to ultimate skills, and basically the author at the beginning of the series basically explained that ultimate skills is GG if your opponent doesn't have ultimate skills. And I think that's the unique thing about Dagruel, to be honest, is that he doesn't have any sort of ultimate skills. Yet even if you do, it doesn't mean it's a GG if you're fighting him. So I believe it's not perfectly stated, right, straight up stated in the light novel. I believe it's stated in the web novel. It's only implied in the light novel, but basically his existence itself is as strong as a ultimate skill. So for one, as OP unique skills can be, they're not working on him. For example, Shion, her unique skill shelf is literally a small version of reality manipulation, and he unalived her multiple times. Like one-shot her, bro. Like it was kind of funny when I was reading it. I was kind of laughing. But main point, it stated that he was getting close to the ultimate realm, and it still wasn't affecting him. And then you have Luminous that was using his whole ultimate and still wasn't doing nothing to him. So, ultimate skills isn't just GG when it comes to Dagruel. Unique skills and anything below that is just not working on my man's. So, in other words, he's pretty damn powerful. His energy was able to reflect a planetary move. It's not happening. Like, he's not weak. And like I said earlier, he's able to time stop. And the suspended world is connected to multiple dimensions. So, depending where you think the cosmology scales to, he's able to affect all of that. So, he would scale to that in terms of AP. In other words, attack potency. But main point, he's definitely one of the strongest characters and definitely one of the most underrated characters in terms of strength. With all that, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time.